a surprise live from Akakura in Myoko. Let's wait for some people to join. Set this up for a second. It's a beautiful day here. Another warmer day. There we go. Okay, I'll put my other glove on, because it's a little bit kind of, actually I'll take them off to use the screen. It is a bit colder today. Let's wait for some people to join. I'm up in, so this is Akakura Onsen in Niigata Prefecture. This is probably the most popular and most well-known ski area in the Myoko ski resort range. So in the few that are around here, we have Suginohara, we have Iki no Taira, we have Akakura Kanko, and Akakura Onsen. That's where I'm at. So I thought I'd just go live here. I just came up here actually to get out of the house. Been writing some messages all morning for the last 3 hours on Instagram. So sorry I've left them for so long. And I thought while I'm out, I'll just show everyone what the current snow situation is, but also what it looks like here before the season kicks off, because it is quiet. Yeah, what's up, Northern Illinois? How you doing? Yeah, it's cool. So I'm up at the ski joe, at the ski resort area, and we're gonna go for a bit of a walk. The first thing, I'm starting up here at the foot bath. So right behind me is an onsen, a foot onsen, or a hot spring. And over this side, you can see it's still kind of drizzling out. I'll do the flicky around thing. Here we go. So this is the last of the hot spring water for the warmer months, as the warmer months cool down. And it's just kind of drizzling now. So this is kind of like the water feature here. And this is the hot spring where you're usually putting your feet. But this is all being dried up, getting ready for winter. This one as well. There's a hot spring up here. Has anyone been up to the Myoko area for skiing or for anything? It's a pretty cool spot to try out here. Where am I? I'm in Akakura in Niigata at the ski resort. So there isn't really much snow here yet. And sometimes people are worried about that. But this is how it is in Japan, actually. So especially for the Myoko area, Hakuba, which is close to here, already has snow down there. But there's quite a big difference that a lot of people don't know. And that is that for the Myoko area, they don't use any snow machines. It's kind of a late start to the season, and it's kind of an early finish. It just depends. You never really know. But when people are coming over to Myoko for skiing, I would always say, like, wait until the very end of December to plan your trip if you want to have some guaranteed snow, because it probably will arrive somewhere in the later months, in the later part of December. For Hakuba, for further north, so further north they will probably have snow earlier, and for places like Hakuba, Madarao, Shiga Kogen, they also just pump out snow through snow machines. Like I said, they haven't actually put snow machines in here yet. Part of it is because they don't really need it. When the snow comes here, oh, my hair's going up here. Yeah, when the snow comes in here, it really comes in here. There's like huge dumps. So this weekend, we're supposed to get, I don't know if it's like a meter of snow, but it's gonna be here on Saturday, Sunday, I think. We're getting snow coming through. Yo, Texas, what's happening? Waxhaw, New Zealand. Do you have some job in Japan? This is my job. New Mexico. Like and subscribe, yeah. The Trump thing. Yeah, I was there for the first Trump thing as well. That was good times when I was in America. Very interesting. I was living there during the first part of that. Okay, I see some of those questions. That's deep. Favorite memory in life. I'm just gonna, so what I'm doing in this video, I'm gonna come back to your questions. Don't worry about that. But as I walk through, and sorry about the sound quality, I didn't actually plan to go live right now. I just kind of thought it's super interesting up here, and I'll just share this with you guys. If you can't hear me, feel free to put it on the chat, and I'll try and come back to anything you don't hear. But you'll see up here, Akakura is the most popular spot in the Myoko area. A lot of people have this understanding that Myoko is still under the radar, and it's really not. It hasn't been for maybe 10, close to 15 years. It's been a very popular spot. The thing about Myoko is it's always had a limited amount of resort, a limited amount of accommodation and facilities to house people to stay here during the winter. So it's flown under the radar in that way. But as you can see now, and I'll flip it around here, this property is just being upgraded. But I mean, on the left side of that, you can see what a lot of these places are like. I'll just zoom in there. And you see that place is just kind of semi-demolished. And that's changing around here. Now there's some scaffold up here. People are spending more money now on improving these hotels and resorts. And there's another one just up there I just walked by, and it's just been built. Yeah, let's keep walking through the town. Let's just check. Where are you? I'm just reading is winter tourism the main part of the industry in Myoko? And sorry, I've skipped over a couple of questions. I'll come back to them. Yeah, I think for any ski resort in Japan, the whole winter season, I mean, these places survive off of the winter season. During the summer, during the green months, even spring, you don't get the same amount of tourism. And it's kind of, the thing about Japan is the people who do spend the money, like the domestic tourists, they work hard and they come here on a Friday night and they'll leave on a Sunday afternoon. But international tourists, that's part of what I'm trying to do now. They're following a lot of the trail going to Tokyo, to Kyoto, to Osaka, to Himeji, these popular spots in Japan that are kind of on the Shinkansen, on the bullet train route. And it makes sense. But yeah, I'm really trying to push for this kind of local tourism, because as you'll see, as I walk through this town, and it's the whole kind of purpose of this video, is outside of the winter season, it kind of looks like what you'll be seeing now, which is kind of ghost towny, but there's actually a lot going on behind the scenes, because for people interested in buying or living in this kind of property in Japan, it's a full-time, year-round maintenance job. And the people that live here full-time, the Japanese locals, also the other residents who have moved here internationally, they have to spend a lot of their time repairing and maintaining their houses, because they get absolutely smashed in the winter and even in the summer with the mold and the humidity. So they get absolutely smashed and need to maintain their properties. Okay, let's have a look here. Ski plans for the weekend. I don't have any yet. So the only ski resorts that are really operating now and functional, like I mentioned, they're the ones that are pumping out in this area. The ones that are pumping out the snow with the snow machines is probably Shigakogen as well, but Nozawa Onsen and Hakuba have snow. That's the closest to here. Hakuba is like an hour and 30 minutes away, and Shiga is about an hour from here. Madarao had some snow, and I'll flip it around a bit later when I get down there in a minute. And Madarao Tangaram, it's the same mountain. I can see it from here, and it's kind of fully melted. But as I mentioned before, it's not. If you're coming here skiing in Japan, it's nothing to worry about. It always, consistently, it usually comes later in December, mid-December, late December. And for Myoko, we're probably getting it this week. Okay. But I'm happy for it to be warm as well. I'm enjoying this. Yesterday was actually really warm, so it's melted a lot of the snow. All right, let's see. Favorite memory in life. There are way too many. I have good memories all over the world. I've traveled to like 65 countries and I've lived in about 7 countries. And I have endless like positive, good memories. Yeah, I often think about like times I lived in Brazil, times I lived in Fiji. I kind of grew up in London and I grew up in Sydney, Australia. Lived in the US and I love the US as well. Spent a lot of time in Canada. So I've moved around and traveled around a lot. I love life. I do not speak is it Burmese, the Burmese language? The Myanmar language? I do not speak Burmese. I'd love to. San Antonio, what's up? Bro name John. Buy a snack. Thank you, Trenton. I will thank you. Thanks for $5. I will buy a snack. It's gonna be like Fami Chicky or something. Marcelo do Brasil, moro em Sorocaba, São Paulo. Bom dia, Marcelo. Você fala um pouco de português. Mas há muito tempo desde eu falo em português. It's a really nice day. I'm going to flip this around again. We've got one guy walking down the street. Here we go. So here, I'll try and keep this steady because it does shake. I've got it on that little like selfie stick. This is the vibe of Akakura outside of the ski season. So if you look carefully at some of the properties, you'll notice like some of them have had a facelift like this one. And over the back, it was most likely built around the 1980s. And that's when they kind of boomed in Japan. Everything was being built 70s and 80s. The economy was like going great. And then it sunk and nothing really got built again. So if you start looking carefully around, if I walk into this parking area, you can see that house over the back. I'll just zoom in to save my legwork. Places like that have been like left behind and getting destroyed. So these guys are running a business over here. I think that's a rental place. Cool to see them getting ready for the ski season. Come back to the main street. I'll just flip around here. Yeah, this is the Akakura Onsen area in Niigata, in the Myoko area. This is the most popular part of the Myoko area. And if you come to Niigata, if you come to Myoko, this is most likely where you would look at staying because you can see all of these buildings also do accommodation around here as well. This is like a really local little store that's open year round. Let's go have a look at their crepe. They've got crepes. What do we got here? Get you guys in the mood for skiing in Japan. You have to get ice cream and crepe if you're coming over here. Looks pretty legit, right? This is old school Japan over here. And we're just walking down the town. There's a bar here on the left, this one, and they have like a mini skateboard ramp inside. All right, flip it back around. So it's quiet here. It is very quiet here. So this is a resort area, right? So if you go down off the mountain, it's not as quiet as here. These businesses mostly operate during the winter season. We have rental stores and restaurants. And a lot of them are Japanese owned, locally owned, and a lot of them are internationally owned. And some of those people fly in just for the winter. And some people will be here year round, just like me, that have kind of fell in love with the spot. But it makes like a unique, I'd say a dynamic place to live because it does have these kind of, you might see ups and downs, but I think also the locals, they like working really hard. I'm gonna go down here because it's kind of loud. People love working really hard for the 2 months, 3 months of the season, 4 months of the season, and then having like a more peaceful lifestyle. So people choose to live this way. They choose to come here. Not everyone's from here. They move here from different spots around Japan and start a business here. All right, what do we got here? I'm just gonna go through some of these questions. When I was in America, I lived all over, but I was based in Seattle and San Francisco for a while. My hair is really like sticking up. Yeah, I was based there, but I traveled around a lot. I had the freedom of like remote work. So I'd spend a lot of time in Hawaii, in Colorado, anywhere there was skiing, anywhere there's mountains, I was more or less there. Yo, what's up, Germany? This is Japan. Derek, this is it. It's haunted. Maybe it is. Or it's just left behind with the economy of Japan in the 80s. It has started to snow. We had a heavy dump of snow for a couple of days. I'm gonna go past a guy that might be using a chainsaw. I'll just get by this. I'll flip it around. Just gonna get through this chainsaw dude. Oh. Give me 1 minute. This guy just chainsawing the back of his van. It's good safety out here in the countryside. This place has a good reputation for food, in case you're interested. All right, just flying through here. Just a minute. This is our most local convenience store up here. I'm about 10 minutes from here, my place. And even this convenience store, it's not open year round. They do close this down and they're just opening it again. All right, some guys in here working for winter. All right, I'll answer some of your questions while I'm walking. Try to go to Fukuoka-ken. I have been to Fukuoka. I love Fukuoka. I've been there 4 or 5 times. I love it there. It's a good escape from the cold. Opening Airbnb. Yeah, I did do some tours last year, and I'll do a few tours this year, but I'm limiting that now. I'm just so busy with other little projects I'm working on. Can you do some snowboard, ski equipment, shopping videos? Yeah, I will. I'll flip this back around. Yeah, I'll definitely do some like videos about getting equipment in Japan, and also like some of the options that people don't talk about. There's a big hype about picking stuff up in Tokyo and buying ski equipment, but there are a lot of good cheap options in Japan where you can buy like cheap gloves that are really high quality, Japanese standard. I don't want to say they're made in Japan, but Japanese standard. Yeah, and there's like some good stores for that, but outside of Uniqlo that everyone knows. Guys, there's this hot spring here. Check this out. This is the local hot spring water. I'll give you a bit of a history in a second. 1 second. I'm gonna fix up my hair here. It's killing me. This is boiling hot. Hold on, I flip it around so you can get a better view. That's just smoking hot there. And you can see all the minerals in the water here. So while I'm here, oh my God, yeah. While I'm here, I'll give you a cool little bit of background of Akakura as well. And that is, it's quite unique in Japan. A lot of people don't know this, but Akakura Onsen was developed as an onsen town, as a hot spring town in around 1800. It's like 1816. And what makes it unique is it was developed by a feudal government, meaning like, to kind of simplify it, samurai in some way, not just samurai, but like a feudal government with a shogunate, developed this particular town with a local temple called Hozo. And going up the mountain here, up to Myoko, which you should see in just a minute as I walk around, was kind of off limits. You had to get permission, and there was you had to have a certain status to be able to visit the mountain with permission. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting spot. And the hot spring water that you just saw back here, let's go back over here just for the imagery. This hot spring water is pumped from the top of the volcano. So if you've seen the Myoko mountain, at the very top of the volcano at the peak, they actually tap into that there, and they bring it down these massive pipes. It's like industrial style pipes. So it's fresh. This is fresh volcanic water that's kind of spurting out the top of the volcano. It's very cool. Yeah. So a nice little bit of history to Akakura. And it's getting more and more popular here. What's your beef? I have no beef. Any snow yet? Sapporo next week, hoping for somewhere there. Yeah, here we've had snow. This weekend it's supposed to get, I think, around 1 meter. And that might kick off the year. The temperature will drop. We're expecting a big year, but you never know. You look like an undercover scammer. Yeah, sometimes I feel like one, walking around with a selfie stick. I'm planning a Japan visit in Tokyo area. Do you offer assistance other than home there? Helping others find a home there. To some extent, yeah. I've kind of realized as well. So I do offer like consulting for helping people find a place in Japan and all the rest of that. But I feel like there's a lot of resources out there. I've actually just started this. I've just actually put out a map for my favorite spots in Japan. The top 21 for me. I couldn't do 20, I did 21. That I would buy a house if I was going to buy a house again. And I put all the reasons on there. So if you want to check out that map, you'll be able to find it on my website. And I can just connect you with people who can help you buy where you can buy the house through. This here, I'm just going to flip it around again. It's going to interrupt these questions. So here is Akakura Onsen ski area, ski-jo. Right there, old school Japan style. So if you're coming to Japan, put your expectations down for facilities. They haven't spent a lot of money yet because it's cheap here. And if you look up the ski mountain here, you can see there's barely any snow. It's still to come. The views over this side, that's looking up towards the north direction. If you keep going that way up there, you find Lotte Arai ski resort. I can come back here actually and show you Madarao and Tangaram, which is another really popular ski area in the Nagano area. So this is Niigata, where I'm standing. But just over there is Nagano. It's right on the border. Sorry, it's shaky here. This is how it is on live. So straight across there, and I'll zoom in a bit. That is Madarao and Tangaram. And they put some videos out last week showing this guy smashing the powder. It looked really good. And it's all kind of receded now. So you can see the run there on the left, right in the center of the screen now. And there's no powder left on Tangaram. Over the back of that is Madarao, but it would probably look pretty similar. Cool, let's flip back, answer some questions. Next big project on the house. I just need to change my front door. That's the big one. And I need to change my kitchen. That's the biggest project, and I'll do the floor as well. But for the winter, I'm not going to touch it. I'll just be waiting I'll just do other little things around the house as I do that. Okay, he's cutting a body, probably is. You've really got to you've got to get ready for winter, and you've got to, like I said, if you're only working for 2, 3, 4 months of the year, doing the whole running a lodge business, then you definitely have to keep working through the year. A lot of people will do their own farms here. as a way to have a food source for like free. You know, it's kind of you're self-sufficient. But other people will still work for 1,000 yen per hour, 1,200 yen per hour. It's about like $7 or $8 US to maintain some kind of income. So people don't get paid a lot here. Yeah, it's Japan in general. It's not just, I don't want to say it's just the countryside, but you're just limited to what you can do here. I'm just going to keep walking down the road here and get to another ski area. And that's where I'll finish up this kind of walk. Dansel, gonna be Japan, mid-January. Yeah, mid-Jan's a good time to be here. It's gonna be cold, but it's gonna be good. You get clear skies in the winter. Do you have to leave the country for a period of time every year? I'm confused about the residency laws. You do not, so if you're a tourist, you cannot live here, but I have a business visa. I have a job here, I work here. So for me, no, but if you don't have any visa beyond the tourist visa, you cannot live here and you cannot work here. What's this? Here I'm preparing to sleep while Matt is just chilling. Yeah, I've been kind of stuck inside today. I just wanted to get out, and I decided to come up to Akakura for a quick walk to enjoy this before it's going to be covered in snow. I've just seen this. I'll just turn this around again for a second. So you see this everywhere around the town. This is hot spring water. It'll be coming out of this building here. And you'll find them all along here, just like water. You can hear it running and pouring into the streets. It's a beautiful day. Excited for the snow, but also enjoying not shoveling snow just yet. I could never go to an onsen, too shy. I think I was the same when I first came to Japan and had my first onsen experience. It was, I mean, not even just the first one, you know, the first few that I had was really terrifying, and like feeling as though I had to follow the rules and do things the right way. But I think after you've lived in Japan for a while, sunglass here, right. There we go. After you've lived in Japan for a while, you start to realize that while there are definitely things that you need to respect while being in Japan, when I first came here, I had this whole idea that Japan was like completely nuts. It was a whole, I hear some kind of animal down there. Yeah, I had this idea that Japan was nuts and like so wild and different, and I had to do things a certain way and not put my chopsticks a certain way. And, you know, obviously like you need to respect a culture wherever you go, but the reality is that Japanese people are just humans as well. And we all kind of, we learn to understand that we all have different cultural differences. Yeah, so going into the onsen the first time, it was really terrifying, but you just kind of realize that it's the norm here. So you end up enjoying it. People are just there to relax or to just be clean and have some personal time. I'm going to flip it around here so you can see the hotel up on the hill. This is Akakura Kanko Hotel up there. And that's on the mountains. That's in the middle of one of the ski areas, Akakura Kanko Ski Resort. And behind that, you can't see it. It's all cloudy today, but that's Myoko Mountain. Yeah, it's very cool. Let's keep going with some of these questions. I like your channel, my kids have seen. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. I'm really doing my best here. I'm so surprised. People ask what I do these days, what's my job? And it's actually become really a content creator in Japan. I'm getting invited now by local governments around Japan. I just got back from Tokomachi. You would have seen the video I just made for Tokomachi, their Jomon tour. And it's so cool that these guys are reaching out to me now that I have a bit of traction and seeing that I've always tried to promote local Japan, supporting the local communities like this to try to boost the economy. And not even the economy aside, local people want to show people what else Japan has to offer. So that's what I'm doing now, like getting invited out by these places, showcasing these things, and it's really busy, like trying to take off on all that stuff. Hey, what's up? Firangi. Hey, India, how you doing? Oh man, I love India. I have some incredible stories from India. I was there for like 5 weeks a couple of years back. I went skiing up in the Himalayas. So cool. Very nice cloud cyclone system. Yeah, we have, so Japan's whole powder snow that you see, like that is famous for, Japow, Japanese powder snow, Japow. It's famous for this because this cold air comes across from Siberia, I think Russia. It's blown across the Japan Sea. That sea is warm and evaporating up. It hits this cold air. It's not even rain. It's like a cloud. It's like a mist. It's wind and humidity. And as that comes across, and it hits this mountain range first. It hits Hakuba, the Northern Alps. All of the mountains on the west coast get hit first by this Siberian wind and the warm sea. And instantly, when it hits the mountain at that height and at that cold temperature, it turns into snow. And it becomes this soft, light, dusty powder snow that Japan is famous for. And we kind of get it first here. Depending on how close you are to the sea, it can be a heavier kind of snow, depending on the weather, because it can be a little bit warmer here. And that depends on the altitude as well. But that's what Japan's famous for. And yeah, I cannot read your what city? This is Akakura Onsen in Niigata in the Myoko area. How do you get that stabilizing on? I know that. Sorry, this is killing me as well. It's live, honestly. The camera does pretty good these days on the phone, but when you go live, it's like, yeah, just lets loose. What's up, Hamburg, Germany? No snow yet. It's the normal thing. It's pretty normal to not get snow around now, too. Last year we had it pretty early. This year it's going to be probably from this week or this weekend or next weekend. We'll see. What's up, California? Chilling rain. Not sure if you mentioned before. Are you from the US or Canada? Just wondering if you're used to the snow already. I'm in Canada and laugh at people when they complain about cold and the snow. I'm just reading your comment, chilling rain. I was actually born in Australia and raised between Sydney, Australia, and London, England. And since then, I have lived in the US. I lived up in Seattle area for a while, and I lived in California, Washington, and just traveled around a lot. Went to Vancouver a lot, up to Whistler a lot. But yeah, my accent's kind of strange. I got used to the snow over the years. Growing up between those two places, I never really had to deal with it, so it was a whole new thing for me. And I was introduced to it through New Zealand, and I'll set this up so you guys can have a nice background. Yeah, I was introduced to it through New Zealand and Japan. It was probably my first real serious snow introduction. Here we go. I'll avoid the gimbal-y thing. I know it sucks, this stabilization. I'd say it's so hot now. Okay. Yeah, so I wasn't used to the snow from growing up with it. It was a big learning curve for me, and even the last year, it's the first time I've had to live with snow, where I've had the responsibility. I couldn't lean on somebody else to go and plow my snow or shovel my snow. Thinking about what is it like when you have that amount of snow, 6 feet of snow, 1.5 meters of snow on top of your roof, what do you do? You know, is it okay still? Do I have to take it off now? What do I do next? But I was lucky to have like my neighbors, but also the life experience being in the snow and snowboarding all the time. But having my neighbors close by was good. Having a construction background was good and helpful. It was useful because I kind of have some understanding of structures and whatnot, and when things might be too heavy. So yeah, that side of things was challenging to adapt to, but it was really fun. It wasn't actually too painful at all. I wouldn't say it was a killer for me. Thanks for the question. What's the business? Okay, I'm at Vise. What's your business for the business visa? My business is content creating. So it's content creating, tourism, within the tourism industry. I'm also providing occasional tours, so personal tours. It's just a mix. It's mostly tourism industry and building industry too, construction industry with consultation. Monkey in the bushes, I think it was. I'm just scrolling through your comments right now. Oregon, yes, Oregon's beautiful. Spencer, sorry if I miss, I'll try to hit all of these questions and comments. Spencer Smith, why do I hear people can't live in Japan forever? It seems nice. Love to buy a home there someday. I think I don't know if you're talking about the visa or just life in general. So I'll speak about both. The visa, it's definitely possible. I think the challenge with a visa is trying to convert your work visa or your student visa or business visa to a permanent residency. There are hurdles to go through. Japan's slowly getting easier to do that. But at the same time, if you look at any country, if I think about the US, Canada, Australia, and you want to apply for permanent residency, it's exactly the same there in the developed world, where you have to tick boxes and you have to be of a certain, you need to be pushing the economy in any of these countries to show that you're valuable, to be worthy of having that permanent residency. So it is complicated. Japan's slowly changing. It's a whole other question, I think, whether you say, does it need to change? After living in Japan for maybe 7 or 8 years now, I don't think so. One of the big the bubble questions is Japan's population is decreasing. Is it the end of the world? I don't necessarily think so. I think Japan had a quick advancement into their economy in the 60s, 70s, 80s that was probably unnecessary. Their population grew, their economy skyrocketed. They built a lot of houses, as you see. I think there's 8 or 9 million empty houses in Japan. They built a lot of infrastructure and things to do in Japan. But was it necessary? Probably not. They didn't really need to have, they went up to 900 ski resorts. 900 ski resorts in Japan. Was that necessary? Probably not. It was just extra money, bigger population. So it's probably it's like a natural subsiding as well. It is a problem to some extent that the population is older because there's only so much they can and really should contribute, because they also need to relax at some point as well. So that is an issue for people having to pay for that in their taxes and whatnot. So yeah, there's a lot of depth in that. But yeah, I think that's a whole other video too. Got to get a visa to stay past 90 days. Yeah, that's right. Or you can go and come back, I think, depending on what country you're from. There's a bit of wind here. Let me know if it's a bit windy. And I'm just scrolling past a couple of these. What's up, the factor? Jelly bean, thank you. Yeah, I'm doing my best to showcase the best of this part of Japan. Do you hike? I'm a huge hiker. So my favorite thing is snowboarding. My second favorite thing is hiking. Love hiking. I've hiked all over the world. I love it. Lianai Seymour, what's up from Australia? Yes. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Where am I going? Today I'm just having a break. This is actually, yeah, I'm just out and about enjoying the day. Visits in Tokyo till February. Any help with the channel on cameraman? Oh my God, I need help with editing. Editing takes so much time. My editing is killing me. It takes me, you know, like for these videos I make, especially on YouTube, it takes me at least 24 hours solid to make a 20-minute video on YouTube. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. At least. I'm reading your comment there, Adachi. Where you live, it gets down to -40, and you have to go to work in -40. Yeah, that's nuts. Japanese chicks are hot. Maga, 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 maga. What you see is maga, I do. Pisco, what's up? Thank you very much. Appreciate your comment. Yeah, get over into the snow country Japan. It's incredible here. It's really different from Australia. The US is easier now than other countries to get permanent residency if you have kids born in the US. Good to know. I'll note that down. No need to go west. Now generation for Asian countries. Can hear you fine. Vancouver, what is up? You must be getting colder up there as well. Hola amigo from New Zealand. Hey, what's up, Nicholas? Yeah, the editing is time consuming, but yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I get to have this freedom of lifestyle where I get to come out and showcase the best, I don't want to say like hidden spots, but not yet promoted spots, at least internationally, because locally everything is promoted in Japan. I'm not sure if people are aware. I'm going to make this kind of shaky again now as I walk along. But I'm not sure if people are aware, but every town and every village in Japan actually promotes, almost, I don't want to say everyone, but almost every town and village in Japan promotes their area for something. So if you've been to Japan before, you'll see like, come to our village, we do the best apples in Japan. Come to our village, we have the best shrimp or whatever in Japan. So everyone's trying to promote and come up with their unique point. But it all comes down to how easy is it to access. For someone that's coming on a trip to Japan for a week or two, it's pretty difficult to get to some of these locations without using a day or a full day to travel there, and it's totally understandable until that infrastructure is there, or if it's easy to drive to, if you can get a rental car. All right, let's have a look back here. I've been talking for too long. I'll flip this back. All right, this is Akakura Kanko. So Kanko is like tourism. That's the meaning in Japanese, Kanko. And this hotel up here has a great onsen. Man, it's so shaky, sorry about that. And behind it you can see the snow isn't really taking yet. Probably from this week. I'll put this down because it's just so shaky. I'll make it easy for you guys. Yeah. I'll just talk about it for 1 second. Yeah. Bear with me. There we go. That's a bit better. Yeah, so you'll notice in the ski resorts in Japan, I have some people commenting me, messaging me and asking me for like, where's the best ski resort? I want something like North America. I want something like Canada or Switzerland. And what they're looking for is like steeper runs mostly with good infrastructure and like heavy verts, like big drops. So like riding up high and coming down low. But Japan isn't really known for that. The mountains are about, so on average, the biggest mountains along Hakuba. So Mount Fuji is 3,776 meters high. That's Mount Fuji. And then in Hakuba, which is the Northern Alps and around that area, Omachi area. The Northern Alps run at around 3,000 meters. That's kind of the next taller mountains. There's another one in between, a couple in between. But the next taller mountain's around 3,000 meters. The ski resorts themselves the highest one goes up to around 2,100 meters high in Shiga Kogen area. And the vert drop isn't that much. A big reason behind that is because these resorts were built, this one was built around the 1930s, and people didn't have the same adrenaline needs. They didn't have the same equipment. They didn't need to do what we do today in North America, in Europe. They didn't need to go out and seek those big mountains. They just wanted to get up here in the 30s, and it never really developed much since until like the 90s and 2000s, when it really blew up here with the internationals, especially Australia, New Zealand guys coming up here. So when it comes to the resorts here, they are a lower vert. They are a little bit, they're not as steep, but you can still go off. Like you can see over to the left, if I zoom in here, you can do backcountry up there, for example, and get some of those steep runs in, because Japan is incredibly steep. You see landslides happening in Japan when the typhoons come through, when the earthquakes happen. This was all uplifted land from volcanic activity, so it is sharp, steep mountains in Japan too. But these resorts were very much built around that 1930s to 1970s, 1980s time, where people just didn't need to go and almost kill themselves in the mountains. It's a bit different these days. Yeah, and they're only just now starting to upgrade the facilities here as more tourism comes through. So if people want to have those kinds of experiences where they want to have like a comparable experience, at least facility wise, to other world leading resorts, they've got to promote the tourism, and they've got to get more people coming over here to spend the money, and they've got to change the prices and make it more to compete with that stuff. So it's a bit of like a double-edged sword in a way. All right, I think I have a lot of comments coming through here too. I'm just going to come back to your comments. Yeah, living in Japan is fun. Hi, it's me. What's up, powder skier? How long have you been staying in Japan? I've been here for about, I'll flip it back around on me. I've been here for about 7 or 8 years now, living in Japan, and I've been coming here since 2010. It was my first trip. And ever since then, I pretty much came every year since. I couldn't leave. It's like, I like it, but it's frustrating. I can't leave this place. It's too good. January 18th, powder skier, not Myoko. Furano is nice. Have fun in Furano. I stayed there for Furano is in Hokkaido, for those who don't know. And you get some really great powder snow up there. I was there for a ski season once, about 2015, 2014, 2012, I was there. Yeah, that's right. Japan is not Europe. Yeah, and you come here, the thing about Japan, like, the skiing is just one part. It's just one element of how awesome your trip is to Japan. The other part is the cultural experience, the hot springs, the culture. Everything else just makes this place like pretty spectacular. The food. Yeah, the vert powder, the carving. Carving is super popular here with the carving boards. How should one reach me for consultation? Check out my check out my website and see if it aligns with what you're looking for. macguy.net. Just see if that's what you're looking for. Talking to the realtors on in Japan is not easy, because, for example, if you're buying a cheap house in Japan, I'm going to stay to the cheap one, then I'll go to the more expensive one. But if you just want to buy a cheap house in Japan, they don't really make any money from it. It's very minimal pay, so there's very minimal effort, and they don't have time to. They don't put time into trying to sell the property. It's either kind of like you want it or you don't want it, but they're not going to mess around too much. I think in Western countries, at least from my perspective, working in construction and being part of the property industry, is that we want to explore and go deeper into questioning properties, and it takes time to make a decision. But here, you've just kind of got to decide and run with it if it's a cheaper property. If it's more expensive, you'll get a better experience. It has to be usually in Japanese, and usually the first question, if you say, hey, I'm interested in this place, the first question is, great, can you be here tomorrow? Can you be here this week? It's not usually, let's have a conversation over email or video call. Video call doesn't exist. You're gonna have to be there in person. So it gets kind of complicated, and a lot of the times you need an agent or a representative to help you through that, who's living here. Ooh, 14 seasons in Japan. Very cool, powder skier, sweet, love that. Where's your favorite spot? Would love to know. I'm exploring more of Fukushima this year, powder skier. That's where I'm heading to. Gonna spend more time in Nekoma and around the Mount Bandai area. Oh, the address, Akakura, very cool. They've just changed, you probably know, but they've just changed owners, I think, in the last year or something. Yo, what's up, Dr. Zula Mae? You emailed me so many times? Oh, so sorry. Oh my God, I really apologize. I did not realize. Send me another one. Yeah, powder skier, get over here. Wife is Japanese, very cool. What else do we got here? Robert, 15 years skiing. Yeah, it's hard to leave, right? Robert Hua. It's hard to leave. Once you come here the first time, you're like, I really miss the hot springs. If I go somewhere else, I just feel like, do I want to spend 300, 500 yen on a hot spring and like, yeah, finish my day that way? And if I don't have it in other countries, I feel like I'm missing out. Our favorite spot is Myoko. Myoko is good. There's a lot of things to do here. So we have like I said, we've got this resort right here, Akakura Kanko. Next door is Akakura Onsen. Next one is Iki no Taira, 5 minutes from here. Sugi no Hara, the next one. And behind me here is Madarao and Tangram, about 25 minutes drive from where I'm standing. Justin, thank you so much, appreciate it. Yes, that's my coffee for the day. How do you feel living in Japan with natural disasters? I'll put this down again because it's shaky and it must be annoying. Yeah. I think let's just do this. All right. I'm just trying to make this less annoying for you guys. How do I feel about living in Japan? The first earthquake I experienced was scary. I was on like the 13th floor of a building in Osaka, and it was scary. Everything was shaking. The building was like, because when you have an earthquake, as you probably know if you've experienced it, so I don't want to like say too much about it, but the earthquake really you feel the wave. It doesn't shake like this. It waves, like you can feel the earth wave under your feet. And actually the first one I had was when I was living in Kyoto, and I thought everything was shaking, and I was like, what is that? And I thought that my first thought was like, oh, it's just a train passing by. So I just went back to what I was doing. And then a second went by, I went back to what I was doing. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't even live near a train. So I just kind of made it seem normal for me. And then I realized like I was in an earthquake. But you kind of get used to it. There's a lot of safety protocols here. It's not going to guarantee your safety, but things like being prepared, having extra food in your house, having a flashlight, having an emergency kit, that's something you have to think about. And the government does put on a lot of training for people who live here every year. They talk about it every year. When you buy a house, when you rent a place, they'll always tell you where your disaster relief area is. So where you go to your safety spot, where's the highest point if you're close to a tsunami area. You're kind of educated. You have to be on all of that stuff, especially if you live here. So if you join a school, for example, if you start a language school, or if you start a new job in Japan, they'll always give you more information and teach you more about this. There's a lot more put into preparing you to live in Japan than there is when I moved to the US. You're just kind of let loose. But here, they really do help guide you through, I don't want to say unique, but with the language barrier, maybe, the unique points of living in Japan. Was that 2011? The earthquake? What was that about? 2011. Oh, cool, it's not too shaky. Yeah, you gotta go with the rhythm. You gotta feel the flow of the earthquake. I think even with the tsunami, when you start driving around the towns, it's not like 100%, obviously nothing is, it's nature, but you start to see how much money they spent in like the 1950s, the 1960s. Japan started spending, there was a huge earthquake disaster at that time, and the government pumped so much money into putting concrete walls around the country. And then a few years later, in the 1960s, late 60s and 70s, they started putting the wave breakers in, the big concrete shapes to break up that wave, any type of wave that hits the coast in Japan. So when you drive around the country, about 50%-ish, about 50 to 60% of the country, the perimeter of the coastline, is covered in concrete. It's questionable whether it's beautiful. It's questionable how effective it is. It's believed that it's made a good impact for smaller disasters, but for large disasters like the Fukushima accident, it couldn't really do much. Even though they had these massive 30-foot walls, 10-meter concrete walls, it just kind of devoured the whole town. So it's, yeah. The CBD is a coffee shop. In the CBD, there's a coffee shop that has the same logo as yours. Where is that at? They've got the origami with the mountain peaks on it. That's cool. I thought I made that. There are also other ski areas. I'm talking to powder skier. There are also ski areas tucked away in nearby forests, 1 hour away. Can't remember the names of those places. There are so many ski resorts here. There's about 20 something within an hour. And yeah, I like hitting some of the coastal ones. When we get the big snow, just head over to the coast and they get the big snow first, but it really dampens out quickly. You got to get there on the first day. Bionic Madness, love the emergency management. Yeah, you've got to do it. There are some days, it doesn't happen often, but there has been some days where I've been without power for like 3 days. The stores are not restocked for a week. It happens. And that can be, we've said like tsunami, we talked about earthquake, didn't say about the snowfall. We can get insane snow. Maybe a few years back, we had like almost 2 meters of snow within like less than 2 days. It's just nuts. You can't keep up with like shoveling it. And usually in these like disaster times, the government puts an announcement out and it just says, stay home, don't leave, stay home, stay safe, don't go out and risk anything. It's true, the US, unless you go to school here, they teach you nothing. Yeah, for the US, when I moved to the US the first time, I went to Penn State over in Pennsylvania. And I don't think we ever talked about like disaster preparedness or anything. And I know that like that area does get some extreme weather. There's extreme temperatures coming through. And I was surprised, like I never really heard much about that stuff. Have you skied Seki Onsen? I have. It's a great spot. Yeah, I'm expanding. I've been doing some backcountry there as well. And it's incredible. Seki Onsen is just, yeah, it's owned by a family. I don't know if it sounds like you've been there before, but for those that don't know, Seki Onsen ski area, it's owned by a Japanese husband and wife and their kids, and they all run the ski area. Every time I go there and buy a ticket to use the ski resort, I'm served by the owner, by the guy who's just beaming a smile. And he'll always say, come back tomorrow, the snow's going to be great, whether it's good or not, he'll just say it. Victor, how do you avoid freezing pipes in Nagano winters? There are a few options. You can either wrap them, pretty simple. You can replace them with a new pipe. They're plastic pipes and they've got like a foam around them. And you can also electrify them and put electricity to them. That's a few of the ways to do it. Personally, I think if I'm going to live through that, I would try to upgrade the system personally. I'd try to run new pipes under the house. CBD Sydney, I got to check that out. I know of John, the owner of the Address Hotel, but I've never met him. Kate and Rick. They are still around somewhere. I don't think they've moved out of here. Fly low. Very cool. Thank you for discovering me somehow, and appreciate you joining this cool journey that I'm on. I love this lifestyle. Seki the Wild West. Yeah, the old man is awesome, dude. You're asking me, chilling rain. I'll take a few more questions and then I'll head off. 2:20, I've got a lot to do. Am I into anime? Honestly, I'm not into anime. There's been a time in my life where anime and manga has served a purpose for me to learn Japanese. It's very helpful. It's a great resource. I've actually watched a lot of anime years ago, not recently, purely to study the language. Yeah, there's not many anime that I would say I would watch now. But there has been some good ones. There were good ones. I had a good time watching some of them, but it's been a learning resource for me. And then I moved on to manga to improve my reading in Japanese. But not only that, just to improve like my natural speaking of Japanese. But yeah, you're right. A lot of people will move here and do cosplay. When I was a teacher in Mie Prefecture, I lived there for 2 years. And when I was a teacher there, I'd say like half of the people were interested in anime, manga, or cosplay, like easily 50%. I'll say hi for you, powder skier. What's from Daniel? Okay, sweet. I'll say hi for you. Do I have gay friends? I do have gay friends. There's actually there's a huge gay community in Japan. From the feedback that I hear from gay friends, to put it in your terms, is they have a pretty good time most of the time here. Japan's like, it's said, I don't want to say this is the reason, but it's said that because religion isn't a huge thing in Japan, and there hasn't been strong teachings about, let's just say Christianity, for example, where there's like a male and a female, people are pretty open to different stuff in Japan. You're not judged as hardcore, I think, in my experience, for any choices that you make in the West. I give you a good example, right? I was at, what's it called? Round One. It's a games place where you play like arcade machines in Japan. And there's a game where it's like DDR, Dance Dance Revolution, but there's like a more advanced one where it's just like all virtual reality style. And there was this dude there that was wearing a suit. He just finished work, but he was doing this most feminine style dance that you can imagine and just having the time of his life. And it was like a moment to me where I'm like, man, I like living in Japan, that you can just go and do what you want, dress how you want, and people don't like out you so much. It's a really good point of living in Japan. Thank you very much. Having a good day. Did I get a PlayStation 5? It's still on the list. I'm not a gamer. I used to play a lot of games, but I just find, like, honestly, I just wouldn't have the time for it. So I haven't invested in one yet. Yeah, animes are good and manga is a good way to learn Japanese. It's a huge like stepping stone into like somewhat real Japanese that you hear daily. It's not necessarily how people speak, but what you hear daily and in advertisements and things. 26th season, awesome, so good, paddle skier. Yeah, get back to Myoko, it's a good spot. Ashidake, cool. Yeah, cool. Spencer Smith. I was going to put out that newsletter today. It's actually on my list today. If I don't do it today, I'll be putting out this newsletter in the next few days, but it's getting late now and I've still got some stuff to do. All right, I'm going to peace out. I'm going to head off now. I hope you've enjoyed this quick walkthrough of another ski area in Myoko. I just wanted to really show what it looks like during the quieter times of preparing. Even now, it's not busy, but people are now preparing for this winter season. So thanks for joining. Appreciate you guys coming along. And if you have any other follow-up questions, I'll get them in the next. Stick them on my. I'll put a post out, I think today or tomorrow, on my YouTube for. I just did an article with Business Insider about my house in Japan. So I'll put an article up and feel free to post any questions or comments I missed on here. Sorry if I missed them. And I'll be happy to get back to you there. But thank you very much for joining. Happy travels. Love this place.